Hi, it's Tom. Whew. I'm an 11-year-old boy because my voice keeps cracking. Welcome to the show. Welcome to You Can't Do That on Salesforce. We're going to pick up where we left off last week and have some more address hijinks and hilarity insofar as one can do that with addresses. So, yeah, let's get started. I got my screen on here somewhere. Oh, I got this big intro picture. There we go. Now I got this screen. Okay. Where were we? Last week, what did we build? We built some stuff, and it is all here. Well, part of it's here. We have another tab somewhere that might make it easier for us to navigate. Cool. Let's see. We created. We're talking about addresses. We're talking about multiple addresses on any object, certainly on accounts, contacts, opportunities, the usual suspects, but trying to take like a polymorphic dynamic approach to this, and ran into a couple of interesting like flow, quick action issues last time, and realized that the easy way to do things is sometimes the best way with Salesforce. So go figure. But what do we got? Let's take a quick inventory. We have two objects. We have an address object, and our pattern is to, in order for this to be kind of polymorphic, if you want to use the address object on your object, on your source parent object, I guess, then you create a lookup relationship to it. And we've got a count set up here, so that's what we're using. We have an address field on the address object called address, which is totally not confusing whatsoever. We have a name field because we can name these the way that we want. We have some custom naming convention that is courtesy of Flow that's helping us with that. I'm going to just twist this mic around a little bit here. There we go. Turn that up a little bit. Maybe. Hope I'm not blowing everybody's ears up on the stream. We haven't implemented this yet, but I'm sure there's going to be some notion of is this the default address for this object? So some way to interpret that. Related record ID. This is a dynamic. This allows us to dynamically take in a related record Salesforce ID and then sort of reconcile what object does it go to. If I pass in an account ID, it would say, oh, you're relating this to an account. If I pass in an opportunity, oh, you're relating it to an opportunity. This has not really come into play yet, but I've used this pattern in other places, and it kind of supports the polymorphic world of things that we're hopefully going to get to here. Salesforce object type, we're storing that because it's useful to know what that is when we look at our addresses. And then we have another object. We have an object called address type. So we need some way to define a type on these things. Last week kind of went back and forth to say, can you have types that are valid for all addresses, regardless of the Salesforce object you're relating them to? I think the answer is maybe. Could you have a type that is specific to a Salesforce object type, or an address type that's specific to a Salesforce object type? I think the answer is yes. That could definitely happen too. So what did not make sense was to have specific types by specific record, because at that point you're doing that. You can name them a certain way on the record, but you don't really need types at that point, and it just feels too micromanagey. So these come together. If we take a look at account right now, this is not done. We have work to do here, but I have an address on test account 1, and its name is its record name and the type that it is. So we see here, this is the address itself, name, the address, the related record is our Salesforce record, our Salesforce ID. Here's the account that it's related to by way of that related record. Here's the type, the object that we're dealing with. Again, we're keeping that because it's useful. And then the address type is here. And here's the name. Here's the object type that it relates to. And that is, I think that's everything. This address type relates to this address. And there we go. So we're able to select, hey, what kind of address is this? We use another convention, the account dash something here. So I think what we probably need is an extension of this, that when we create address types, we could create an address types that's valid for any object type, which I think is going to lead me to have a different term here, all types, or all dash something, and then maybe we'll add a few other ones. I don't know why I'm holding this. Still not sponsored, Poppy. When are we going to make it happen? I love your drink. I love the orange one, I should say. Some of them not as good, but this one's good. Anyway, I digress. All right, so let's save that. Let's get this this shared address type thing squared away. We got some flow doing some stuff here. This is a screen flow that actually takes over the new address type function. So we've got big old pick list of basically we want to associate this with a Salesforce object type. I made this required, but I think I want none to be an option, or maybe we want to inject our own all at the start of the list, and figuring out how to do that could be interesting, but that's okay. And then we've got a labeling function. So let's go back to our flow. This is that big list there. Those are entity definitions. There's still a lot more here than we would actually need. And it seems like if you put too many things in a pick list in flow, it kind of has a heart attack. So I think the magic number, I don't know, feels like 255. This original list had a lot more stuff in it, but we figured out some filters. Basically, if an object has a layout, it's safe to assume that it's like an object that you would use, not it's kind of a DML or a non-DML side of the house, a setup side. So we filter on those, and there's still a lot here, but it's better than the 1,100 objects that come kind of standard with Salesforce. And then our labels. So what we want to do, I think, is set up this screen so that we could add a choice. And then I think I would just call that all as a choice. And then I think we're going to get rid of this, but add it back and pick it there. And hopefully we've got all as our top option now. And let's save a new version and debug that. Okay. All. Okay. Maybe we say all object types. I think that's probably going to be a little clearer. All Salesforce object types. And I've never seen this. Display text input. When choice is selected, display text. That would be a good. They've got other accounted for. I have not run into a need for other in a flow, but hey, if you're looking for that, there it is. Choice value, we'll leave it as all because we'll probably do some filtering there. And that looked like it was good. So then we don't have to get a single entity definition. So I think what happens is we get this list, and these is just so when what did we run into here? We get this list, and then we pipe it into our collection choice set, but there was no way to map additional fields here. You know, when you where else can you do that? I think maybe in other collection or other choice sets, you can map additional fields for preservation for later, but we can't do that here. So we just grab the API name, and then after the screen, we requery for that specific one so that we can have things like the name of the of that entity. And yeah, I think it's just the name was all we needed. We won't need that if the decision says, let's say all selected, question mark. Yes. And then let's see, what did we map that to? Where's our pick list? Salesforce object type equals that choice. I think that works. If we do that, we don't need to do anything. Otherwise, let's do that. And then our address type is a formula. So full address type label. We only want this if, or actually, yeah. We do. Actually, I wonder if we can make this a little. No, we need an if statement in here. Yeah. If something, do something. If our pick list equals all, then we'll just say all dash, otherwise we will say the thing we had before. I look forward to this being like a code structure situation at someday. I like to put some spacing in here because it's just easier to read, but it looks a little rough. Okay, can we make a type for all? We'll call this all test 1. Go. All done. Let's see. There we go. Does the other side half of this still work? Let's create a new record or address type for contacts, and we'll call this test contact 1. Good. Contact us. All right, cool. Now, when we picked all, yeah, okay, so the object type is blank. Are we good with blank? I think we're good with blank. What that might inform is, let's go ahead and activate this. We have two debugs there. We have we need a new address button, which I think, do we have that on the account now? New address. Yep. So we're going to use this for our new function. I really wanted to take this over, but it was just not having it. There was no way to get at the source Salesforce ID. All right, so from that page there, right? Yeah, we can't carry the Salesforce ID through, which is a bummer because I want to override this, but I want to have the context uh, of the parent, but I couldn't. So there you go. Not going to do it that way. Going to create a new address button here. This could be interesting as like something dynamic, maybe from a configuration perspective, or maybe just the existence of, like if you create an address type for a Salesforce object type, it should put that button out there. Or maybe we have a little bit more configuration, at this level, and we could say, hey, here's that type. Also wondering, as we go through this, is it useful to have this as custom metadata? Maybe it really could be. The question then would just be, how do we relate? If I take an address, create a relationship. I don't think I can create a relationship to metadata here. No, I would need. We'd need some. Well, again, we could. When we create an address, we could pull the custom metadata because we're going to do a custom UI around that. So that wouldn't be impossible to just relate the two by even just by name. The only question then would be how to make it display what the type is, and so it could kind of go, I guess, either direction. I'm going to leave it as an object for now, and we'll have to just figure out how to you know we'll have to deploy that data. So okay, we have we have address type. That seems pretty good. We probably need an edit function here because I don't think we have, when we go to edit one of these, we're just jumping into this view. Not a bad thing, but maybe we want to go right back through the new function. We could also do something like create address type for account, but I don't think we have to go there just yet. So let's go to our account and finish this step. So this is a good spot where we can drive a little, use that related record ID to drive some stuff. I think though I would like to have. Well, maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe my original thought was, all right, we want to go get at least the name of the record that we're creating this address on, but I don't know if we do. So let's not do that just yet. Let's go back to our flows here. Address screen, create address. And here's our screen. And what do we need in an address? We need we're going to set that related record ID. Let's add let's cancel out of that. We're going to create a new resource called new address record. And we're going to make that a address type. I don't think we don't need any of that right now. Let's default some values on this. So just say set default. Not really defaults, just like init fields, I guess I would call it. There's a fly flying around. So we'll make, okay, good. These are all available to us. That's great. This is the construct of custom fields on address objects, and we want to expose all of these to the page because we can't edit an address field. I don't think, unless that's changed. I gotta look, but I don't think we can edit an address field in like a native way. We have to make all the fields come out. So New address record. This is the address field, but we're going to edit all of these down below. So, but what we want to do first is make the related record ID equal that incoming record ID. So this is what we're actually attaching it to. And then when we save this, I think we need a trigger or a record triggered flow on the address field to decide where does it go, and but we might need an invocable for that because I think it'll be kind of expensive. Well, maybe not. No, we might not. We could query entity definition and get the key prefix of the first three numbers of this record ID, set it that way. Except that we can't dynamically set fields. So maybe that's the invocable we need to create, is the ability to send an invocable, an object, a generic object, and have, in our case, have it figure out what to set that field as, and then send it back with the field populated. So we can tell it as much as we possibly can about what we know about the field, or I should say what we know about the object, what we know about the source field, and have it do work from there. I'm putting the cart before the horse, but that's kind of where we're at. Okay, I think that's the only field we need to initialize. Yeah, we don't know the type yet. We know it by the key prefix, but we don't know anything else about it. So we're not going to do anything with that yet. Okay, that's done. So we're going to show a screen. We have that already. Now it says there's an address input. Is that for real? Let's try it. Address input. The active countries configured in the state and country pick list. Okay. Default city. Okay, it looks like it's going to work, but we're going to have to map. So we can use this. We can use this UI, but then we have to map the fields, I think. Let's not display the header because that just looks funny. That's our address input, and then hopefully we can access all these values and then do a mapping. So I do maybe want to say create address for blah, right? So what would be useful is maybe an invocable that's like get name field. Or do we even need that? Maybe it's a flow, right? Maybe it's not an invocable, but maybe it's a flow. You pass it a Salesforce ID. Because I think a entity definition, which I still have up from last week here, is there a way to get the name field? No. And even still, we're not going to be able to. Well, no, we could just send it back. But we would still have to interpret it, right? So I don't know if we're going to get namespace prefix, qualified API name. I wonder if with entity particle, which is related to entity definition, does that know about like is name field? We do have that. Okay, so but we still can't dynamically reference. We still can't dynamically reference. So maybe that's what we need is, maybe a very low level invocable like get value, get field value, right? And then you could pass. We know the name of the field. We can get that from this, and maybe that's the approach we take. So couple of basic invocables could help us out with this. Okay, anyway, we've got the address here. Let's see if we can map address fields. So city equals city. State code equals, ooh, wait. That would be, ugh, what is that? Oh no, it's postal code. Okay. New address. City, state. Oh, street. That would help. Street. New address. We have to pick a type. Postal code. Postal code. Country. Country code equals, let's do this again. Country. Geolocation. We don't have that. Does that just magically happen with Salesforce? I guess we're going to find out. Okay, that takes care of that. So we got our 5 fields. We mapped those. Let's go back here, and we're going to add a checkbox. That's default address is default address. We'll make that false. And so this is something else we'll do on our record trigger, is uncheck any of the defaults when we check that box. What else do we need? Type. We need a lookup for type. And do we need a name? I think we need a label for this, right? So let's make I'm just going to put a text. Actually, no, we won't be able to do, well, can we? I don't know. Let's see. New address. Oh no, the name, wait, the name is what? The name is what on an address? Okay, so we can't do the name. Can we do the label? There is no label. It's just the name that we're setting. Okay. So we don't. But how did we get? I don't think we've done this part yet. So we have the type. I think we need a label on this, unless we already do. We don't have a label. We're just we're just faking the name field. So that's okay. I think we're going to need the object type sooner than we think, because I want to pull all address types that it can't just be an open-ended lookup. Unless we do a filtered, were we trying to do that the other day? This address type, I think we were trying to do a filtered lookup, and it wasn't having it. It wasn't letting us get to the fields that we needed. If this address is, see, it's still not there. The Salesforce object type just will not, it won't display here. I don't understand why that text field just isn't available. I guess I never realized that you can't use. Can I do it on the address type side? Yes. This is what I don't get because this is just a field, and it's also. Oh wait, no, that's not it. Current record. What if we flip it around? Current equals address. Yeah, I can't get there. I wonder, is it because maybe it can't assume that the value is there at that point? I don't know. This seems weird. This seems off to me. But right, you'd think, because I can get it here. Is the data type maybe something off with that? That's a text 255, and then over on the address type, it's a text 255. I don't know why. I guess we just can't match text, I guess is the issue there. So okay, well, anyway, we can still control the filtering on our here. So maybe this isn't a lookup. This is more of a pick list, most likely. I do think we need a label, though. I think we want to put a label on the address object, just like we did the address type. So you can call it whatever you want. We can use that in the name field. So you've got multiple types of type doc, and you want to call them doc 1, 2, 3 or something like that. That's our user. Put that there. Let's save this. I think I published a version or activated a version of that because we were testing. Okay, sorry. Distracted on another screen. Here, let's put our label. So I was wondering if I pick this, put label up here. I don't think I can change. So I can't change anything about that. That's not terrible, just a little bit annoying. Can I do the address? I'm curious about that. That should not work. Wait a second, let's save that. What is our record ID? Let's grab this here. Interesting. So I thought I read that this doesn't work, but it seems like it does actually. And then can I, street, city. I mean, it seems like that works. So let's find out. I hate to get rid of all this mapping, but we're gonna. Let's just make one, I guess, and see if it. I don't expect it to fully function here, but test 2, and let's go to United States. 234 street, city. New Hampshire sounds good. Oh, those are still on the page. That's fine. Default address, yes. Oh, we didn't actually save it. Okay, we got to do that. It's not going to tell us what's up if we don't do that. So then here, can we also map the default? Yeah, we can do that. I wish you could save, you could change the labels here. You know, it's not a big deal, but I think we can, you know, I can just go back to the address and say default address, question mark. Which is probably right to read it from the field data anyway, but a little more flexibility there would be handy. I guess we don't need this either. Okay. Address label. I think that's it. Yep. Let's go with that. And then let's just insert address or create address. Debug. No states in Afghanistan. City, postal, default. Yes. All done. Okay. Let's see. Are we really all done? Yes. Okay. Added the interesting. I have no idea what it just did there. Oh, I just used the wrong field. That's all. I used the field of the address or the Salesforce ID of the address instead of the, which is fine. It's doing exactly what it said it would do. We didn't pick a type. We have to pick a type, and then we have to figure out the object type from there, which I think is all going to happen in the record trigger flow. Okay. Let's see. So far, so good. We need to know that that object type. Safe to say we're always going to come in from the record ID. Yeah. And I gotta loosen this up just a little bit. Okay. All right. We're going to find the get object type. One thing that just popped into my head, I wonder if this entity definition stuff is going to be accessible as a non-admin. Hopefully it will be if we tell the flow to run as a system user. So we need a what's that going to be? Key prefix. We need a new formula. Key prefix, which is it's going to be a text, and the left side of the record ID. 3, please. Okay. Key prefix equals key prefix. We just want to return the first one, and that should give us our object type. We can also set our field now. New address record object type equals get object type qualified API name, and then so now I'm second guessing. Do we actually need the label here? I mean, we can use the account name, or we can just let the name be a name, right? It might be easier. Might not need that label field after all. I was making it more complicated than it needed to be. I never do that. Okay, so do init fields. We initted our fields. This is pretty easy. But we also need now we need our address types, right? So let's get those. So get address types. Okay, this is going to be address type, and we're going to do an OR here. We're going to do where Salesforce object type equals new address object type, or Salesforce object type equals nothing. So will that work? And then let's sort these by name, by label, by name. Yeah, we want them all. Automatically store them. Oh wait, this should be empty string, I think. Empty string or null? Let's go with empty string. Hopefully that works. Okay. Done. And then we want to put that into a record choice. Actually, should I just do a record choice set now that I'm thinking about it? This would be address types. Address type choices. We can do the same thing. We can use that field because we've already let's sort by name. Yeah, I think this is going to be fine. So this was the step that doesn't exist in in one of the collection types. Maybe because it just wasn't fields. It was just a more generic. It wasn't a record choice. It was a collection. So it didn't know what to look for there. The choice label, I think we just make that the name again. And then the choice value is going to be the ID. Great. And then from here, we need to, let's map fields. So address dot type equals. Oh, we don't have our pick. No. Yeah, we don't have our pick list yet. Okay, never mind. Let's put in a pick list here. This will be address type. Yeah, let's make it required. And choices. Done. Now let's map fields. New address. Address type equals whatever's selected here. Save. And debug. Was there an issue mapping the name field out here? Let's see. Address name. I think we should get rid of the label. I don't think there's any value in naming those addresses. With the account name or what have you, because they're going to be shared, right? So we eventually want to make these shareable across multiple objects. Yeah, yeah. So we actually have a data model thing to do with that. I'm gonna take my hat off. This is really, there we go. But my hair looks wow. Hang on. It's probably not gonna look much better. I can't even tell what it looks like, but there we go. That's, it was resting on my head funny. So yeah, all right. Bad hair day. Yeah, I. So the thing we're doing right now is we're creating these addresses and uh, we're assigning them directly to objects, and that's not right. um, we actually need something to sit between this address and the objects so that we can reuse some of these addresses or you reuse the addresses. Uh, so we don't care necessarily about the well, we can care now, but what we should really be creating is an address generic and then something that's like an address relationship, which would be relating an address to a particular object. And that's where our polymorphic mojo needs to happen. Now, the kick to that is we're then going to have address relationship records on our, or, like related address. Maybe that's the, the right name. We're going to have related addresses on our objects, which is fine, but isn't, from a UI perspective, isn't going to make a ton of sense. So maybe we'll either need to roll up some fields or something else there. Anyway, that's something to consider. So I got the wrong fields on this address. I think the type is useful. But maybe not. Maybe the type isn't. Is the type not useful until you relate it to an object? Because right now I would just be creating like 123 street. So this address here, oops. This address that's not actually related to anything right now is this, right? But we would want to make this even more generic. There is actually no related record ID here. We're literally just creating an address and then relating it, giving it context by relating it to something. So that makes more sense, but we need another object at play. So, and then we need to think about what that's going to look like on the on the record experience. So, okay, very kind of important. So let's create a new. Do we call it? Is it related address? Address relationship. What do they call the Salesforce account contact relationship. What's the name of that object? Is it just account contact relation? Yeah. So maybe just address relation. We can call it that. Naming convention around this, maybe it's useful to have these replicate the name of the address itself, and maybe include the maybe here is where we include the name of the object or of the record, because this could get confusing if I'm looking at 6 address relations that are all called doc1. And yeah, I think that may also change the actual name field for us on the addresses, because that won't make a lot of sense either. So this will be, let's go with a field with a name there. We're not going to create a tab for now. Okay, so we're going to move a lot of fields up to the address relation, because that's where they belong. And then creating an address. When we create an address on a record, we're going to create the address, and then we're going to create the relationship. That'll all happen under the hood. So that, and then I think when we, if we edit an address relation, we're actually editing the address, and maybe we're indicating all of the records it's related to. Yeah. Something like that. Okay. This is all right. This is getting interesting now. So I thought it was a bug biting me on my foot. So let's also go to the address object. This should move. This should move. Our lookups should move. Default probably should move too. Label's going to go because that doesn't matter now. Okay, so we're going to move all these. Actually, I can probably do this a little faster in Visual Studio Code. Let's pull what we've got. Address relation. Let's make a fields folder, and then from address, let's grab these 3 and drop those in there. I'll have to go set the values on, or set the permission on those myself manually, but let's push. Whoops. Way faster. Okay. We just got to go to our permission set. Do those show up? Yep. We just got to go to our permission set and grant those. I'm going to just duplicate this one more time. Permission sets. I have to grant other permissions here anyway on this object. Okay. Save all that. And then I'm just going to pull that change down. I don't know why this still keeps coming up. Do we still have that field? Do we don't? Is it lurking in our? It's lurking in config somewhere. Or where do you go? In here? No, here. Indexes. Where are you? There's somewhere. Okay, not gonna get lost in that right now, but that's. I think it may be in the tracking table in Salesforce still. I don't know how I got rid of it, but all right. Let's. Speaking of getting rid of stuff, let's get rid of these. It's not gonna let me because they're in the flow. Right. We. Let's go back to our flow here because we need to get rid of those fields. We need to get rid of label, default, and we're going to keep address type. Are we going to keep address type? Or does address type actually get interpreted when you relate this address to a record? Because what might be one account's doc could be a contact's main office, maybe. You know, it could still have a name. No, it shouldn't have a name. Addresses are just geolocation points that have no context until you relate them to something. So I think we even need to get rid of the name and the type. Okay, we are mapping fields, so we can't get rid of that yet. We're just going to delete that because we don't need it. So this really boils down. Now, hold on. We're going to need this stuff again, but we have to kind of recombobulate this this whole thing. We're going to get rid of these. We're going to delete this whole thing. I feel like, yeah, everything I just got rid of is still going to be here. All right, so literally an address now is just an address. Doesn't know anything about anything. We don't need type choices. We don't need get address types. I take that back. We will need that eventually, but as soon as we bring the we need to bring the concept of the address relation in here, but we're not quite there yet. All right, I think we have to do address type here. Let's copy this over. Push that. Wait, did I push or pull? Oh boy, there is already a child relationship named address on address. My fault. Yeah, we need address type. Address relations. Wait a second. No. Let's get. I'm just gonna get rid of it. Yeah, move to trash. I'm just gonna recreate that. I think I'm getting backwards on the relationship naming. So this is address type. This is address relations. There we go. Okay. That looks a little better. I'm going to leave these fields for a second, and then we're going to kind of reestablish some things with this version. And I think I just nope. Okay, I was afraid I didn't actually save my changes. I probably want some of that stuff back, but that's okay. We get our object type. We know we need that. We get our address types. We do need that. And then we need a new, this is going to be a new address relation record. All right. So okay. So what we're going to do is, I think we can move this up, put that there, and this is going to populate our. So I don't. Well, no, I still have an address record, so we can still reference that from here. We won't need anything else, and then we need. Actually, I'm going to pull this back. Let these other things happen. We will create the address. We will also create address relation backing into all this. So we're going to set address relation fields. The address relations. Well, we don't have a relationship to a address, so we kind of need that. So we won't do that yet. Let's save this. Let's init address relation fields. New record, object type equals qualified, new relation, related record equals record ID. Okay, init that, and from here we're going to change a few things. So we're going to use the relations default. Oops. We're going to use the relations. We're not going to use the address type because we still need to look that up. And I got rid of that, which was, oh wait, we do have the address types. So, but we actually don't need the address type. No, we have it right here. Address type choices. Never mind. We're doing great. I think we can get rid of this. Yeah. Address. So let's grab pick list. Address type. I think we need, so we're going to create the address, and then I think this is going to be something like details, this is DT2. This is like address details for record name. explain what this means, dot, dot, dot. We might want this on another page because I feel like if we add an address and it looks like another address, we would want to say, hey, this looks a lot like that. Can we do duplicate? We might even be able to do duplicate matching on that in Salesforce and say, do you want to use this instead for record? But for right now, let's go 14 on this. Because what's that? That's not 12. That's 18. Okay. Maybe we want to go 16 on that. So it's here where this is the address relation. This is the address relation. Save all that. We need to put a lookup here to the address. So this is the native. I couldn't even get to that. That's really weird. This is the native address object, but can't get to that because this is enabled for specific types. Unless, is there something in the release notes that? More custom address field functionality. Okay, so let's see if there's anything. I don't see anything new. Well, there's new stuff, but I don't see anything related to the standard object, right? That's what is a little confusing here. Our custom object looks a lot like this standard object. Again, this is more like this is used in a lot of industry cloud stuff. And then they've also got their location object in here. So we're kind of, well, I mean, I think this looks a little different than what we're going after, but I do need to change this address relation has, this is a lookup to the wrong object. And I'm probably gonna have to trash that because it's not right. Ours is the second one in the list. Okay, and we are, yep, okay, there's our object. So now we'll go back over here, refresh. Create our address, set relation.address equals create address. So now we have, so the one other thing we need is our polymorphism. We're going to create a lookup to account. So these are address relations on an account. And then we would just add more fields to that. And then if we go back to our address, we need to get rid of some fields. So we're going to get rid of account if it's going to let me. Yep. We're going to get rid of type because we don't do that yet. We're going to get rid of label because we don't even use it. We're going to get rid of related. We're going to get rid of Salesforce object type. Is that our latest version? So we have it in here somewhere. Oh yeah, it's, where are you? Where did that go? Oh, I think it's in our address type choices. Yeah, it's here. We want that to be our relations, S object type. Yep, and then we can delete that. Okay, so now the address is literally just an address. And we can oh, sorry, just reading. Interesting stuff about, there was a blog post. Anyway, where were we? All right, address relation. Boom, got it. Now, I think we have all the fields on our relation. Oh, we're going to get rid of, no, we got rid of the, I think we got rid of everything there that we need to get rid of. Let's double check our relation. Yep, that's where our account's going to go. We have our related record ID, and I think we're names. What are we doing with names? So the account, or I'm sorry, the address relations name field is text. The address field is also text. Does that still make sense? Because we're really just creating this under the hood and creating a relationship to it. I feel like it kind of doesn't. I'm going to make it an auto number. Let's just call it ADD, I guess. Okay. So now I've got an address. It immediately creates a relation. And we know the object's name. I'm going to activate this. And I'm going to go create a new let's see, did we add it to the page layout? We did. All right, so we have address relations here. Let's create a new address. Let's go Albania. I don't know any cities in Albania. No states. This is a for this record, this is going to be their billing address, and it's the default address of that type. Uh-oh, blew up. So sad. Let's do that in the debugger. What? Insufficient privileges. Let's go ahead and refresh that. Close and reopen the flow. What is going on? I probably made it mad with some of the fields that we... Let's grab our... Oh, no, it's because it's not deployed. That's why. Clean this up a little bit. Okay, so what went wrong here? Malformed ID, address ID value of incorrect type. Yeah. Are we not setting the... Oh, it's just address equals true. Well, that's not... Yeah, that's not going to work. Nope, I got rid of my... let's see, set... This should have the ID, right? I guess maybe I did activate it. Okay, either way. Here's our record ID. Okay. Oh, it doesn't know. There's no relation yet. So we... and I don't have a tab for that. Let's open up the dev console and we can... We don't have the name field out there either. Oh, wait, address relation, sorry. So here's our... We have to change that to address relation, but that's okay. Here's our address. It's related to our account. We didn't pick a type. I thought we picked it. Maybe I didn't. Oh, wait, we didn't map that, I don't think. Pick list, address type. Okay. All right, so now we have um, that. We have we have our address object, we have a type, we have an account that it's related to. Um, so back up here in the account, there would need to be some something more than just this in the in this view. And I don't think we can do a lookup to a. We could do a lookup to address fields maybe, but I think what we want is maybe just a little more, you know, a little more UX around the address relations. Because so the upshot here now is that I can take this address um, and relate it to multiple things. You can see here we do need to give a name to these. I think um, take the object name or something there, and yeah. So all right, we've got that. We are create our address. I think we need to edit uh, function there. The next question is if you edit an address, does it edit it for everyone? It feels like the answer should be no, unless you're truly updating it and it's valid for everyone. Maybe that's a question that we ask. Because what you could, in effect, do is uh, say, hey, um, don't don't change this for everybody. Change it for these like 5 people or 5 records. And then in effect, you're creating a new address and re-linking all of those relations to it. So you don't mess up what's already there. That might make sense. It wouldn't necessarily make sense to just go blindly create an address. I think you're always going to create an address in the context of something else. What we may also do is say, hey, if you're gonna add an address relation, send that to a flow that says you're adding an address relation to this contact. Choose a choose a choose an address from a related parent, right? So choose an address from account. If it has some other parent that is also using addresses, you could select that too. That would be interesting because then you could push push those down. I was trying to think about how do we map, like how do we create rules that say if you select a doc, right, you want to stamp that to some standard fields, stamp the relationship or stamp the address to a relationship field on the object. I could see things like that being potential stories that we tell down the road. So actually, let's add a few of those to our README. Oh yeah, we do have some. So some of our, let's see, we have some trigger actions or some. We have some record triggered flows to write. This is on address relation. I was thinking about how to. So, what does default mean in this context, right? And why am I wearing these headphones? Because I know that y'all can hear me. I think. I hope. Oh wait, let's see. Where is this audio coming out of? I've literally been sitting here with headphones on, um, not connected to anything. Whoo, losing it, people. Well, I guess let's make sure I can hear you all. All right, you guys can hear me. Um, the little wave bar is going up and down on my computer. So, oh yeah, that's working. Turning this off. Taking these off. Sheesh. Now, all right, now I got to put my hat back on because my hair looks ridiculous today. How's that? Neat. Super neat. All right, address relations. Default. What does default mean in this context? I have an address, it's just a place, and then I associate it with Bob's, barbell warehouse, and I say that this address is the dock of that warehouse. If I say default, like default what? Default dock based on address type? Is it the default address type for that record? That could be. Does default not make sense? Because what we really need is to say, map this, make this field the something, right? And we would need to know what those somethings are. Like on a account. Well, actually, no. Let's take a look because I wonder, could we do something intelligent here, right? Could we? Let's look at the account. Does Salesforce know that? Yes, it knows that billing address is an address field. It knows that mailing address or shipping address is an address field. So we could actually say things like, hey, map dynamically, intelligently, map this address to this field on the record, right? And we could also say you could do an addressable address lookup on an object, and that could also be an option for setting the value. So either an address field or an address lookup to our object could both be stamped, right, to that, to a field. And I wonder if we could say something like always map this address type to this field for this object. And address types are only valid for all is not. So we may need like a address type mapping object. I'm sorry, I just got bit by a mosquito. I think that's fun. So that could be interesting to do. And yeah, I'm gonna take a quick break. I'm gonna grab a drink, and we'll come back in a minute because I am. I'm gonna grab a snack too because I think I'm hungry a little bit. YCDTOSF will be right back. ... Exclamation things. We'll be back. I'm gonna leave I'm going to leave this open, but I'm going to turn my face off, and then I'm going to turn this You guys can't hear me giggling at myself. All right, here we go. Where were we? Doing weird stuff with addresses. Yes. So we got some stuff to do on some record trigger flows before we get too carried away. So I don't know if default makes sense. That's, I guess, what I'm coming back to. So the need to turn defaults on and off, we may not be clear yet. I'm going to sneeze. Wow. Okay. Hope y'all didn't get that. Right. So we don't need to do that. We actually don't need to do this one. We do need to we need to populate the, actually, we don't, well, we just need to populate that field. We need to populate the lookup on, populate lookup based on related record ID. To do that, what are we going to do? What do we need to know? We need to know, we know the object type. We know the related record ID. What we don't know is, or what we can't do dynamically, is the field setting. So enter a invocable create Apex class, and let's call it what do we know? We know the we're going to need to pass it the record that we want to set the field on. We actually can we determine the, we don't know what field either. I'm going to open a soda. So I know the record that I need to set the field on. I know the ID of the object type. So we need to pass in this record and this value, and we need it to set basically set a lookup field. So I guess that's what we're actually doing. We're saying for a given record and a given ID, find the right lookup field that will accept an ID of this type. Basically match the record ID that's coming in to the record ID's S object type to the related field's S object type. So let's call it invoke underscore set lookup field. Let me change the name of that so it's a little, yeah, we can do that. Set lookup lookup field. Okay, and now I go to the internet and try to remember what an invocable method needs to look like. And I want to pass in the the records, set them, and then pass them back out. So I think we're going to have to do an output variable for that. Let's take this stuff out for now. This will just be execute. And we're going to have to pass in like a request. Excuse me. Yeah, we need some kind of request object, I think. And then a request looks like it's a record, right? So it's a public, this is an S object, which is the record. Forget, do I need to make those Aura enabled? And then we're gonna pass the lookup field value. And this is an ID. Yep. So we're going to pass in a list of requests. And then I think we're just going to return our list of S objects. Can I do that from an invocable? I can't remember. Here's our requests. And I think I've written this before. I'm going to peek at my other computer and see if I can find this. I feel like I've done it before, so let's look. You still see me? Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, I have, let's see, get lookup field by type. This might be useful. Oops. Let's see. Get lookup field by type. So the S object, the primary S object, which we will know, the lookup field type, which we can get from the ID, and then we're going to return that field. I think this is going to work. If it's a reference, so we're going to get an S object field back, and we can set that field on our incoming request, right? So we're going to loop. Let's list S object response equals new list S object. Okay. And then for request R in requests, schema.sObjectField F equals this thing. So we need the, well, this is the, we need what? R dot record dot get S object type. And then we need R dot ID dot get S object type. Okay. And then r dot record dot put Can we just pass it the field? I forget. We might have to go get the name. And then the value, which is r dot lookup field ID. This is wrong. Okay, so that just does that. And then let's add response dot add r dot record. Oops. Doot. We don't need any of this. And then we just need to return response if it's going to be happy about that. I can't remember if you can return a generic S object collection. We'll find out. Invocable method does not support parameter of. Oh wait, it's a list of lists, right? So for request REQ, I think I got to do it this way, right? List of requests, recs. And then request R. In recs. Unexpected token. Oops. Wait, what am I'm missing something here. Oh, invocable variable. Duh. Right. I think we can do. I don't think we need to do the nested. I just need to make that an invocable variable. All of the members of this need that. Yep. Oops. Oh, and then we need to take the properties. We need to take these. We just need to make them variables, not no getters, no setters. Okay. Ready? What? Private, static. What are you complaining about? Static methods can only be used on methods at the top. Oh. Ishk. This is very much a utility class. Probably should move somewhere else, but there we go. Okay, now let's test this and well, let's just test it. So we need to write a test for it anyway. How do we need to do that? Oops, this is probably why it's a good all right, let's make it. Yeah, let's make a test for this, and then we could probably let's see. I think we could just do like contact, right, and then look up, find its account ID field, create an account in our test, and then have it populate that. Now, I should note like this does not work if you've got multiple relationships to the same object type on your on the record in question. Like that just it will not be happy if that's what you're hoping for. So but I think that doesn't happen a whole lot, and I think for our use here it works pretty well. All right, let's run a test. Let's do invocable underscore set lookup fields test. And we need to say that this is a test. So that's a test, and that's a test. Let's see, public static void test. Okay, what do we need to do? We need to, I think we should just like account. Let's insert that. Contact C equals new contact. And then what we can do here is let's make a list of those. And then let's make one of these. R.record equals C, or contact. R.lookup field equals A.id. And from there, we'll add request.add R, and then we just invoke, I think. For returning the list of records that we passed in. So it's going to build a list, which makes sense because I think we're going to loop over those. Oops, what's going on here? We're going to, let's see, is that going to work? I wonder if that's going to work when we return it, because I think we'll have a list of, well, we'll have a record that we can pass, we'll have a request that we can pass into it, and then we should set our return value to that. I think that's going to work. Cheese stick. I think that'll work. I think that'll work. In this case, we want to see that the we're going to execute this. Set this. Execute our requests. And then let's system that, whoops. Assert equals let's cast this as a contact. There should only be one. Are we missing a... Oh, we just need one of these. Okay. Oh, whoops. Let me do this. Okay. I don't know why, but my unit tests run forever in VS Code. If anybody knows why, I'm all ears, because I just cannot seem to figure that out. Okay, so that worked. Did we? Is there a step? Is there a? Gotcha. We return null if none of that actually hits. Okay. Okay, so it looks like that's working. Now can we actually implement it in a flow? This is going to be record triggered. And this is going to be our address relation created or updated. If related record ID, sorry, what was that? That was a big animal running across the backyard. If related record ID is not null, this will run each time. We may be able to scale this back to only on creation. We do want this to run. Well, we could have this run only when it only when that changes. So fast field before insert or update. No, it can't be that because we can't do invocables. We have to do it after. So that's fine. I don't think those are probably not as efficient. We got an action. Set lookup field. Set lookup field. Select objects. We're going to pass in the... Oh, wait, the object for input is an address relation. The object for output is an address relation. Our record is our record, and our lookup is our records related. Is that gonna work? We're gonna find out. So this is address relation trigger set lookup field. Can we debug this? I think we could with one of our records. Let's see. Oh, they're not on the page layout right now because I just added them through. Right. I'm going to put these in the layout. Okay, there's our related record ID. And if we were to remove this, and then we were to run what is that address relation? Here. Record output address relation. Rolled it back. Oh, wait. I don't know if that's going to work. I forgot that once we tell it, we have to tell it this. Specify the object whose records you want to pass into the record parameter. I think we have to do this as a trigger. I haven't had to write one in a minute. I was hoping that that an invocable would just do the job, but I don't think so. Unless well, no, we're passing in an address relation. We're passing back an address relation. We've just said that the output is the right. No. I think this is okay. Let's activate it and find out. So I come over here. My account is blank. I edit this. I don't actually do anything. It did not set the value. Did it run the invocable? I guess that's also a question, right? Let's see. Oh wait, no, because the value didn't change. Let's open that up a little bit just so we can get this running all the time. There we go. Okay, so now we're gonna refresh, I guess. We got the ID, we got the type from before. Now we want to set the right field. We save. We still didn't get it. Did we find it? Let's see. Let's throw a couple of debugs in here. The primary, oh, come on. The primary S object. And the lookup field type. Just see if we're getting something out of this. And run it again. Do save. So let's see, we're address relation, and we're looking for an account. So it's getting that far. It's only getting to the first step. Let's go here. Okay, and run it back again. Yep, it's getting in there. And then, are we getting in here? And I don't think I need to refresh, but clear and edit and save. And yes, all right. So we are getting there. The object coming back is r.record. I guess let's just see what our I guess just like serialize our response and see what that comes back as. Okay. Edit. Save. Oops. Do we get our account field populated? Is there more to this? There must be more to this. Yes. Okay. So it comes back and the value is there. But we're not updating. We're not updating the value. Huh. So let's follow that through the flow. Where are you? Nope. Nope. Yep. The sole purpose in life is to, so this has to be in after context. This more flexible flow runs after the record is saved to the database. Well, actually, let's, if we update, we can't, I don't think we can do update triggering record because we need to specify the fields. Oh, no, wait. We can just, let's see, update. This is probably, I wasn't saving it. Update record. Use the address relation that triggered the flow. Update records related to. Use the IDs and all values. Yes. Yes. I think that's it. The record's not going to update. The record's not going to update if you don't update the record. There you go, figure. I hope. I hope this is the case. Let's see. Now, edit, save. Yes, it worked. Cool. Cool. I was gonna say you could subflow that to make it reusable, but it's literally one step in a flow. So, well, that's kind of cool. So we built a thing. You can pass take an invocable. If you know, well, you have a record and you have a Salesforce ID, and that Salesforce ID is an object type that the primary record looks up to. This will populate it for you. Handy in this use case where we're doing some whatchamacallit, some semi-polymorphism. Okay, cool. That works, and it's tested. Yay! Because we're totally. I don't know where I'm deploying this stuff to besides this this org. Let's do a poll so that we get our new flows back. I gotta change my API version on this thing. Doop. Okay, why is this taking so long? There we go. Whew. Deleted some stuff, changed some stuff, created some. Yep. That all makes sense. All right, we got all our stuff. Cool. All right, so that thing works, and we can use that maybe in other places too down the road. Yeah, probably should write a post about that invocable. Now what? Populate lookup based on done. Dobne. Donbe, sorry. What else should we do? We need a oops. Oops, what's going on here? Home communications. Out of there. Sorry. Yep. Our home network is very protective. It's a good thing. It spots devices that are it's not familiar with, and then it puts them into like a quarantine mode, and then it, but then it can't do anything. Then it can't get on the internet or anything like that. So boop boop boop. There we go. Okay, what else should we do? We should we have our address. We have our address relation. We were talking about default. I don't think it makes sense unless we're talking about default for the type, but I think what's more valuable is for us to say something like when we create an address type, maybe this is an interesting way of pursuing this. We create an address type and we say like account loading dock. So we could say here that, for account, what if you pick this, what field or fields get populated if this type is chosen? Does that make sense? There's a dog in my backyard just wandering around. That's cool. Does that make sense? So when I pick a mailing address, if I pick a mailing, if I pick something called account mailing, or make that the type, then it's going to auto populate the mailing address, the shipping address, right, on that field. Could we say something like, let's go to this object. I could be very literal here. I could make a text field that's like, populate populate fields, right? And then I didn't give it a very good description, but so now I have, all right, I have a address. Oops, I need an address relation. Go back. Did I put that on there? Oh no, I'm sorry. That's on the type. Okay. So loading dock, populate fields. Maybe it's a question mark. And then I can't even remember what is the field on account billing address, right? So when we could pick multiple. Would that be interesting? Let's see. Billing address, shipping address. You probably make these selectable. This could be a flow, I think. Maybe. Might have to iterate through the steps, but what we're trying to say is when so if I did this and then I had an account record somewhere. If I created this address relation, and I picked loading doc, loading doc's instruction is for an account, when this is chosen, populate the billing address and the shipping address with these values. Now, this isn't working in any way whatsoever, but if I picked loading doc, it would go find this address, and then in this case, because it's an address field, it's going to stamp these values. If I had a lookup called address, then it would populate those fields, or it would populate populate the lookup. Yeah, so we would. Now, do we need a default situation there? I don't. And maybe it's not even an automation, right? Like maybe it's a choice. So maybe I come to this record, come to this account in this example, and whoops, when what is going on here? I feel like I lost. Oh, come to this account, have some UI for the address book, right? We could call it that even. And I could just say, right, like this is the do I want to do that? I guess that's the, do I want to do that on a, because what we would be saying is, hey, whenever you have an account, when you pick this, stamp its value to here. Maybe the behavior is on the relation, it just indicates where it was stamped to. So then you have some reference that says, oh, you stamped this value to here. We could go either way. You could prescribe how to stamp by picking a type, or you could be very descriptive, I guess, and say where you stamped to. And then the account relation could track that. And then also, if a change were to occur to that address, then you could push it back again. I kind of like both. I think the first one to implement, if we said, all right, address type, when it's chosen, if it's this account, stamp to this field. It's probably going to be similar to what we just did over on our set lookup field. I think we're going to have to do some dynamic field setting. And those, the one challenge with the address type is, if, well, no, because you'd have to go in and reconcile those. So I think that is going to be when I create an address relation, if the address type has a field to stamp to, then do the stamp at that point. I could see also having like a layout, like a setup layout for this. So I look at my address types and, just show me the address types for accounts. Show me the address types for all. Show me the address types for, maybe it needs to be all and accounts, right? So when you're looking at an object, you're also looking at the alls as well. Then you would column out, grid out any field that's an address type, any field that's a lookup to our address, and then you do box check, right? And say, you know, if I have a doc or warehouse address on an account, then I could say, well, if you pick warehouse, stamp it here, right? And then I could make types like warehouse, warehouse 2, warehouse 3. Those are only valid for accounts. You pick this, it stamps there. I think that would be the way to go. And then maybe the descriptive account relation saying like literally stamp this here would override for that particular record what you did. That could be an option too. For now though, I think we're gonna wrap there. Let's write some of this down and then we'll wrap it up. So that would be I'll say choose fields to stamp address values to, address field or address lookup. On address type. I wonder if alls, I would say that, all types, right? All types are not valid for this feature. But then otherwise it's, which fields did you check? That's where they're going to stamp to. Select field equals stamp. Stamp when account relation saves or address changes. That'll be exciting. I wonder if there's going to be some bulk fun there. So then the other piece we talked about was, select address from book, right? Which would be account relations. Click, stamp to field, stamp to field, pick field. It stamps and saves the field that was stamped to. So we may need, I don't know, like an address mapping field, right? And you could do that to, we're going to use it two ways. We're going to use it to an address type, and then we could also use it to, this is address relation. I don't know why I keep saying account relation. So I could look up to address type. It could look up to address relation, but it's going to run the same. It's going to execute the same way, just on two different paths. So I think that would be interesting. That would be interesting to explore a little bit. But for today, I think we're going to wrap a little early. Got to go. I actually started earlier than I thought, but now I've got to leave a little earlier than I thought. So I feel like we got some stuff done here. We got our data model cleaned up a little bit. We need a many to many relationship junction object there. We can create address types. We can create addresses, and by way of relationship, the address relation underneath. And what else? Is there anything else that we did there? We described a couple more stories that we can tell. I think we're going to get into some UI. I think this grid thing might push the bounds of flow a little more than I want to. So I smell an LWC coming for an address book component that any object could use. That may become our add function as well, where you just enter an address, and if it doesn't find one or doesn't find a close match, then you use it, and it also puts it into the common database. So yeah, this is a lot like this is like a taxonomy of addresses basically that we're kind of building here. So we'll see if we pick this up next week, or if I come up with some other some other situation that's worth exploring on the show. We'll do that. Beyond that, I'm going to say goodbye to all you wonderful people in internet land, and we'll see y'all next time, because I'm Tom and you can't do that on Salesforce.